Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the very first episode of Around the Table. I'm your host, Daniela Galdi, and I'm so happy to be here with you every week, bringing you creative DIYs, tips, interviews, and how-tos with different experts, influencers, bloggers, entrepreneurs, artists, and professionals in all different areas of your lifestyle. So we've got style, we've got decor, we've got beauty, we've got business. And today, what we're going to be talking to you about is necessities for successful networking. So I've got with me Cheryl Squadrito from Media Friendly PR. Cheryl, thank you so much for being here today.
I am so excited to be the first guest on your show. Congratulations on your new show. People are going to love you.
Oh, thank you. Now, Cheryl and I are big fans of each other. We've worked together on different projects. So she's the founder of Media Friendly PR, and I just want you to give our audience a little explanation about what PR is or what you do as a publicist.
I get that question all the time. What is PR? PR is getting our clients, whether they're a business owner, person, or nonprofits, getting them in the media spotlight. So they're in print, they're on television, they're on the radio, just getting their positive stories out there to the public.
And I know you do a great job of that. I like to call her the queen of networking.
Thank you.
As the queen of networking, do you have a must-have tip or advice for people out there who want to do more networking?
Well, networking is not everybody's favorite thing to do because it's challenging, because you're looking for people who you've never met before and try to make a connection with them instantly. So one tip I give my clients is try to find out in advance who's on the guest list. Sometimes the organizers who are holding the events will provide that to you in advance, and it'll take the edge off.
I absolutely love that tip. Also, it's a good tip for people who are planning events to know, but then also for those attending, it does relieve that pressure.
Right. The other thing I advise my clients to do is bring a friend. Because if you bring a friend, it's great just to get in the door and get that going. But once you get to the event, you guys separate and go your own ways until the end and try to meet as many new people as you can.
Okay, great. So we have the buddy system. Now let me ask you, with the guest list, is it appropriate for somebody attending to ask the organizer for that?
You can ask the organizer for the list. Sometimes they won't give it to you because they don't want cold calls to the people who are like possibly selling to their guests. So you might not always get it, but it always is helpful to ask. I would recommend that.
Okay, that's great. I love that advice. So we've got the buddy system, right? We've got the guest list. And then do you have one more quick tip for us? I know you were showing me a little bit earlier.
Well, there's things that people do before public speaking, and it sort of applies to networking too. The Superman pose or the superhero pose, Wonder Woman, we can say.
Yes.
Yes, with your hands on your hips and your elbows out, chest up. And what that does is it builds confidence, and there was even studies that prove it. So if you do that, it helps you with your breathing, and I think that might be the real reason why, because it opens you up, it makes you breathe a little bit easier and a little bit deeper.
You know, I've never known that about this pose. Should we do it the rest of
the show? I think it might look funny. Plus, I'm Italian. I talk with my hands. I'm going to have to use my hands.
All right, but that's a great piece of advice, and I like the breathing tip there because that's one thing I didn't know about this.
Yes.
So now tell me about Media Friendly PR. When did you start? Why did you start?
Well, I started out my company in 2005, and at the time I was a reporter. I have a really successful career as a reporter. I worked for the Philadelphia Inquirer. I worked for the Courier Post, and I had 2 kids at home, and I made a leap of faith. And when you're a reporter, you don't know when you're going to be home at night. And I wanted to be there with my kids. So my daughter was 9 months old. I made a leap of faith with 2 clients, and it just grew and grew and grew and grew.
Yeah.
And I just took a lot of advice from really smart people and figured out how to make it work for Media Friendly. And we're in our 4th, August will be 14 years that we're together.
Wow.
Yes, it's exciting, very exciting. Yes.
Congratulations. Oh my goodness, I'm so happy for you, and I think we can all relate to taking that leap, how scary that can be. So Cheryl, you are a prime example of if you take that leap, you're going to be able to go for it 14
Yes.
years later and have a prospering business.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So now what do you do with others, your clients? You know, what else can you help them with?
Well, my goal is to tell their stories in a positive way. And if they're having their own events, say they're having an anniversary party because they've been in business, a family business that's been together for 50 years. So what we'll do is we'll make sure the media finds out about it. We'll make sure that there's social media online presence, and we'll make sure that the media finds out and hopefully show up to cover it. Because there's big milestones with businesses, especially the local ones here in the Philadelphia region, and we want them to get the attention that they deserve. My thought is, yes, it's great to have the headlines and the hard news, but people also want that other side too. They want to hear those good stories, and that's where I come in to try to tell them to the public.
That's wonderful. Now, tell me about, you mentioned events, and I know
Yes.
that you're on a mission and just held a great event
Thank
here
you.
in Cherry Hill.
Well, it's bittersweet. I've decided to go into cannabis, not growing it or anything like that, but I want to help business owners to be successful in the cannabis industry, the ancillary businesses, so people that would serve cannabis. And I decided to do this because my sister Marilyn beat breast cancer 2 years ago and then found out that she has it in her pancreas. So she's doing great. Thank you. Her prognosis is really good. But I was frustrated. I'm not a researcher. I'm not a doctor. I can write checks, but I wanted to do something. And one thing that I know that I can do is help tell people's stories and help them get positive media attention. And I'm really good at putting them together and having people meet. And I took my skills and applied them to cannabis. So our first event, I was so glad you were there. It was at 1776 in Cherry Hill Mall. If you haven't been, for the people who haven't been there, I would highly recommend it.
Yes.
It's a beautiful space, and we had a speaker who talked about the insurance risks. This might be a little boring to some people, but it's a brave new world, cannabis, and how to get into it, how to do it safely. And it's still a classified drug. I'm going to get the classification probably wrong, but it's it's hard. People who touch the plant have a different set of rules than the people that don't, and I'm representing the people that don't, trying to make it easier for them to do business and connect.
Wow.
And so far, it's been very satisfying.
Well, that's great, and it's all with the personal mission.
Oh, I'm an Italian woman on a mission, and I am going to help my sister. And it's hard. Like, people don't even know like how to get a card or where to get a card or where. Like, there's a lot of questions.
Right?
Insurance. Well, insurance won't cover it. Like, most health companies don't. Everything's cash. But the insurance for the businesses, if you touch the plant, it sets off a whole bunch of fires that need to be addressed.
Okay. Well, that's wonderful, and so I wish you continued success with that mission and your success in your space 1776 that you are using for these events. Now, with those listening, what is something that is so important as you're planning these events? Because you had a large group. There were about 75 to 100 people there.
It was a great turnout. Well, I wanted to make sure that it was easy to get to and parking, and I figured if people wanted, I made the timing work, because I feel like people can stop by on their way to work, even if they don't stay for the whole event. So I used my network. I talked to a ton of people and said, please come out. And I even used old-fashioned flyers. Every coffee house that I went to had a flyer about the event. And there was awareness everywhere. I did a little bit of online advertising, which I think helped as well. But when you're planning it, you have to get somebody, too, that people want to hear talk. And I was very lucky to get a former NFL player, now an insurance agent, who was very well-versed in cannabis. And I think he was a draw as well.
Okay. Now, as someone else's publicist for your clients, are you able to help them with these types of events, as well as getting them the connections or the speakers to highlight the event?
That's part of what I do. The media landscape has changed, so you can't just rely on people reading the newspaper or watching TV. And so I've had to change my business focus to find other opportunities for my clients. Because it used to be that you could just get a client on Channel 6 and everyone saw it. Now, if you're on Channel 6, we have to market it. And what I do for clients is I connect them with the right people, whether if it's at a big event like the one I just had at 1776, and I also have smaller events too. But I feel like it's important for people to connect. And there's so much with Twitter and LinkedIn that human connection is incredibly important.
I agree 100%. And so if it's a little bit troubling, I know for myself, I love going to networking events, but I do know a lot of people who do not, but it's so necessary to what they're doing, whether they're an artist or in business for themselves. And sometimes their companies want to send them there too.
Right.
And at that point, you might not have a choice. So now we spoke about the elevator pitch. Is that
Yes.
something that's important?
Well, there's a couple things that are important, but let's start with the elevator pitch. The elevator pitch is your 30-second chance to tell what you do and why they should like you or hire you. So if you think about it, if you're in an elevator ride up in a tall office building, you only have a short amount of time to get your story out, and
You're
that's
not
where
allowed
it came.
to look at your phone.
No, you're not allowed to look at your phone. You got to actually make eye
Yes.
contact and see them. So what I tell my clients, never start with your first name because they're not going to remember it. So start out with I always start with a question. Like my elevator pitch is, have you ever wondered why your competitors are seemingly always on TV, the radio, or in print? Chances are good that someone like me is behind them.
Oh, I love that.
So that's how I start mine, and then I give my name and I go on from there.
But it gets them thinking.
Gets them thinking,
what they
and
need.
you engage them. So if you're going to do an elevator pitch, my advice to you is to just start with a question that answers a question that they might have, or that sparks interest in them.
Okay. All right.
And that's a big thing. And you write it down. I encourage people to write it down, but you got to practice it. Don't practice at networking events. Practice long before that. If you have somebody who is your biggest fan but harshest critic wrapped up into the same person, for me, that's my teens. They're very sweet, but they will give me their honest opinion. And I highly recommend that you have somebody that will listen to your elevator pitch and help you make it better.
That's amazing advice. And the prep work is what's important,
Exactly.
especially for today, because in a little bit we are going to show people that putting in the time for the prep work and the materials that you have to hand out is going to still benefit you and leave you in their memory.
Right. Well, you only have 7 seconds to make an impression, if that much. So you have to have them remember you.
Right.
And there's a bunch of different ways for networking. The other thing I recommend that people do is watch the body language of who you're talking to. And watch your own body language too. So when you're talking to somebody, turn your body so they know that you're all in talking to them. I've been at networking events with knowing somebody's nervous and their feet are sort of turned one way and their shoulders are another. And that tells me that they're awkward. And people, I think, realize that.
Okay.
So be all in when you're talking to somebody.
All right. Well, we are going to be all in. We're coming right back. And after this brief break, we're going to show them what to do and what to bring to leave that lasting impression.
Say we've got grit, and we'll take it as a compliment. Because it's our uncommon drive, our spark within, that brings us together and sets us apart. We are temple made. And when others take shortcuts, when others take breaks, when others take the easy way, we take charge.
Add us on social media to watch bloopers, behind-the-scenes footage, previews, and more.
I work 13 hours a day, 6 days a week. So when I'm off the clock, I gotta get stuff done. So when I need a snack, I need something healthy, tasty, and easy to eat. Like wonderful pistachios without the shells. They're protein-powered, delicious, and great on the go. And that's perfect for me. Thanks, Liz. A woman without a lot of time.
Whether you're a gourmet cook or just want to eat like one, visit Rostelli Market Fresh, your home for the freshest, locally sourced ingredients to please everyone who loves great food. Our organic meats, quality seafood, and free-range poultry are cut fresh to order. Chefs create culinary-inspired prep foods made fresh every day, which pair nicely with our vast selection of fine wines and spirits. Choose from handmade pastas, artisan cheeses, organic produce, and grocery items, all from the finest purveyors. Rostelli Market Fresh, from our family to yours.
RVN TV is a platform for people of any industry to share their story. Over 285,000 viewers are tuning in to RVN TV shows monthly. We guarantee a great experience that you'll be sharing with everyone you know while increasing your personal and company's brand awareness. But what is your brand? According to Forbes, it's a combination of your logo, your product, your design and feel, and your personality. Did you know that aside from being a guest, we offer even more opportunity to boost your brand? Adding your company logo and website on screen during your interview will allow viewers to recognize your brand instantly. Incorporating images and video clips is another great way to showcase your product during your live segment. Let viewers see how good you really are. And most importantly, there's you and your interview. For less than the cost of a newspaper, direct mail, or a magazine ad, you can leave our studio and within 48 hours have a permanent digital copy of your live segment to link to your social media, embed into your company website, or use in email marketing. Investing in your brand is so very important, and we can't wait to have you as a guest.
Welcome back, everybody, to Around the Table. And this episode, our very first one, so thank you again for tuning in. This episode, we've been talking with Cheryl Squadrito from Media Friendly PR, and we spoke about what she does as a publicist. And for me, and I know a lot of her clients like to call her the queen of networking because she's so great at connecting people and being the wing woman for others, right? So we have some tips here. Cheryl has brought us some tips that might seem a little bit, the norm, but there's ways to elevate them. So we're going to start with the first one here. And I have to ask you, so it's everybody, it's the original classic business card.
Right.
Which, let me ask you, so they're not outdated?
Oh, goodness, no.
Okay.
No, goodness, and I try to, for this batch, I'm in between branding. So this was a temporary batch that I had, and it's got my name as media strategist. But why I picked this one, you can see it better with your pile. They're thick. Mm-hmm. They're super thick, and it makes an impression. So when you leave an event and you have a ton of cards, having it thick will stand out in the mix.
Absolutely. And then, you can hear it,
yes,
right?
They are. They're even with the one,
thick,
yeah.
And it shows, I think, when you put a little bit of extra time into your card, it shows that you care.
Right.
And that your business is doing well.
Right. And you could tell the difference between one that's been professionally done or run off on your laser jet at home.
Okay.
I spent the extra cash and got you can see it better with Daniela's, but it's got the green on the side.
Oh,
and these were for the cannabis side of my business, which is why I got these done.
Right. So, okay. So you can have different cards for different divisions.
Oh, absolutely. And now with places like Moo and with Vistaprint, you can do them online yourself, or have your graphic designer do it. I always recommend keeping the back of the card blank.
Oh, there you go.
Because people will write on the back who they need to refer you to. And my old business cards had stuff on both sides. So that was a lesson. I had to wait till 1,000 business cards were given out before I got a blank one. So
wow. So I never knew that. And also, it's probably more cost effective.
Right, it's cheaper. Mm-hmm. It's cheaper to do it that way. I know people who put their headshots on their business cards. A lot of times realtors will do that, which is great. Marketing people will do that too. But my thought is make sure your picture that's on your business card looks like you.
Okay.
Make sure it's not a glamour shot. And it really does reflect who you are.
Okay, so a picture is okay.
Oh, totally fine.
Picture is okay. And definitely the business cards are still necessary regardless of all the social media links and sharing we can do. You still want to have that business card.
Yes, definitely.
Okay, good. Actually, I went into my purse the other day, and I know we had prepped for this, and I found someone's business card, and it made me think, oh, you know what? I should reach out to that person.
See?
So I agree. I don't think that they're outdated, and I do think, like you're saying, put a little bit extra touch on them to show you care.
To show you care, and it does make a difference.
It does.
And I've even seen moms on playgrounds have cards that say Janie's mom and the phone number and email address that they've given out on playgrounds. And Moo and Vistaprint makes it really easy for you to do that.
And did you get these through Moo?
Moo, I got them. So and they didn't pay me to say that. But but they have the really thick ones. And I asked someone else, I have a client in England, and her cards came from Moo.
Wow, so you're international.
I do. I am international. We didn't get to that.
Okay, well, we might have to get to that. All right, so our next tip. So business cards are still feel necessary, everyone.
Right.
Go the extra distance, make them a little
Make
bit
them
more
fabulous.
unique and fabulous. Show you care for your
Right.
business or yourself. Okay, so number 2, what is your tip for everyone?
Well, if you're going to like a conference or if you're going to present at a conference, you always have to have some kind of swag if you're going to have a table. But even if you're just going to one, I was in a group, it was an educational seminar, so I had Post-it notes made with, my logo on it.
Okay.
Right. And then,
They're great.
yeah, and then people actually use them. And every time I see someone using them, I'm like, see, that's me. And then these are older. This has got my old work address on it. But these were my absolute favorite things to give away. These are shopping lists, and I
love that for a shopping list.
I am a to-do list person, and I have my to-do list on here, my shopping list on here, and people loved this. And I'm going to take Daniela's suggestion. I'm going to put a magnet on the back next time so we could put it right on the refrigerator.
I said I want it on my refrigerator.
Yes.
I just ran out of paper, and I would love to have that. And then when other people come there, or somebody else is going to their house, then they see it's branded work. It's branded.
Right?
Yeah, so
and useful.
And
useful.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so tip number 2 is basically leave something behind.
Leave something behind that they can use.
Okay.
But networking just doesn't end when you leave. Then there's another whole level of it. Like, my goal is to get a couple people that I connected with that I thought were cool or interesting, or I might be able to help. And what I had done was, I love these cards. They make great bookmarks. But these, I'll let you hold it. These are note cards. So one side it's got my icons, and then on the other side it's a note from Media Friendly.
Oh, look at that.
So you can, and it fits in a regular business size envelope. So I always write a note afterwards and make sure, my goal is 3. So the next day I write a handwritten note, so that way people knew that I connected with them, reminded them who I am. And to me, it's important to make that connection and go that extra mile, because you're going to meet a ton of people at networking events. And I can almost guarantee to you, not everyone is going to do this and send them something. Right.
And I think, again, it shows you care.
Shows you care.
And I think the overall theme for all of these tips for successful networking is that you, A, show you care, but B, you go the extra mile, like you said. Go the extra mile,
right, and follow up.
So tip number 3.
Make sure you follow up, and follow up with a beautiful or note. The other thing I had done when I first started, I had my own little Cheryl Squadrito stationery printed. And
that's so simple to do.
It's so simple to do. You could do it online, Expressionary. There's a bunch of, even Kinko's or local. I ended up not using a lot of these because it was so light. And then it came in an envelope with my name on it, Media Friendly. So make sure you have some kind of letter to send out, or something to put in.
Right, and people can leave them right on their desk. So again, it's a constant reminder of who you are and what you do.
Right. In this day of email, like, you can email a thank you or something clever through email, but the art of a handwritten note is dying, and I'm going to keep it alive.
And when I've done this, I've taken this advice from you. When I've done this, I've actually gotten back such a positive response.
Yes.
And I've gotten a follow-up back for following up on thank you. That was so sweet.
So nice to get it in the mail. Wasn't expecting it. I know when I'm looking to hire people, the ones that send me a handwritten note are more likely to get the job than the ones, if they're exactly the same and one went the extra mile, I would probably pick them.
Wow.
99% of the time, yes.
So now, if somebody is at a networking event, so these are for after the event.
After the event.
Now, if somebody's at a networking event, the business card is easy. Hey, let's exchange business cards. Do you just throw these in with it? Here's some extra goodies.
What I'll do is I will just say, I have these really cool pads. Would you like one? And sometimes people say no, or they just are kind and say thank you and just take it anyway.
So it's polite to ask.
It's always polite to ask. So don't assume they want to take it. And the other thing is they tell me, oh, I could use this. I could really use this. And I love this for my shopping list. So that's the reaction you want.
Okay.
That's the reaction.
Useful. They are going to get some use out of it.
Right. And that's my goal. If they want, I want them to use it and see my name there and see Media Friendly and have them think of me. There was one more thing that I advise. So I have a rock and roll music background, and not only did I base my logo on the music, I copied this off of I don't want to say copied. I was inspired by a concert shirt with these icons. But I have something called a one sheet. And rock and roll bands, back when they were still vinyl, they would always put out a one sheet with the record. So the radio stations would know which hot songs to play or tips about the album, things they could talk about on the radio. So what I did was, I'm getting mine update it right now to reflect the cannabis side. But it's a bio about me, who you're going to work with, and then
Beautiful
some.
picture too.
Thank you. It's
Mhm.
my newswoman shot. But this, and then just some background about what we do and how we do it. And then at the bottom, I bragged and put some of the different TV and print coverage that we got. I will hand this to someone after a meeting. So after you meet somebody networking, and you give them all your your notepads, your business card, you send them the thank you note, and you have that first meeting. This is what I always leave behind.
Okay.
My one sheet. That's
So
what I
there's
call it.
still more. The networking never stops, and then the follow-ups never stop.
Right, and I think even when you have a client and you're happy, like I've sent thank you cards, and I feel like people like it when you go that extra mile and show that you care about them, and about their business, that you have their business.
Well, that's a big thing. I just want everyone to know as we're coming to the end of our very first episode. Thank you so much for being here.
This has been so much fun.
Cheryl, I can't thank you enough. And if you can't tell, the Queen of Networking, thank you for those tips. And thank you for showing that there are people who care and want to help you out there for your business, your brand, or anything that you're going to put yourself out there for. So she shared great tips with us. Remember, business cards, memorable materials, and follow-ups. So thank you, Cheryl, so much.
Thank you for having me. It's been a lot of fun.
So we'll see you every Tuesday at 10 at Around the Table. Thanks, everyone.